Hello.
What's the idea then? I answer these.
Here I am with my envelope that I've been told to open, and apparently on this is a load of questions.
Right, am I on? Working. Right, let's go.
What exactly does property CEO do? That's an interesting one, isn't it? What a great starting point. Well, what property CEO do, in my view, is change people's lives. Often I'm asked that. People say, what do you do now, Ritchie? Well, I change people's lives. In fact, we train property developers. And in doing so, with people earning six-figure sums, we change their lives.
So we only do training, and we only train property development. So whether those are people that are already in property or whether they're completely new to property, we train them how to do it properly. Next question, what sort of property development does property CEO teach?
Do you know, this is an interesting one. We get asked this all the time. Do you teach commercial conversion? Well, no, we teach you to run a business. Forget what type of property development we teach. We teach you how to run a property development business. Right now, in fact, we'll focus you and we'll target you towards commercial conversions, converting existing buildings, because we have permitted development rights and that minimises your risk. But ultimately, you can do what you want. You're running a property development company, and many of our students are doing lots of other things, whether that's new build, whether it's commercial, or whether it is conversion of existing properties.
Who is property CEO for? So that's a good question. Well, it's for quite a range of people, if I'm honest. I think we certainly train a lot of people that are interested in property. Maybe they're landlords already, or maybe they're interested in getting into property. One of the interesting things about property is I think a lot of people look at property development as being a bit of an advanced strategy, yet the reality, once you know what's involved in property development, can be really surprising, both in terms of the amount of leverage that you have when you get into property development and other people doing the work, but also the way the finance works. A surprisingly little amount of investment needed from the developer's part, because there's so much other money that sort of comes into development, which is a bit different to other forms of property like buy-to-lets and so on. So we tend to find a lot of property people are attracted to it, but of course it's all about wealth creation. So anybody looking to change their outcome, their outlook, maybe get rid of the day job, maybe they're in property already in the industry, or maybe they're just looking to move the needle and see property as an opportunity. Property CEO absolutely caters for them. What makes Property CEO different from other training companies?
I think there's a number of things. It's very difficult to answer that because I don't know what other property training companies do, so it's very difficult. What I can say from information that's fed back to us, because we have a lot of people that we train here that's been trained by others, and then they come across to us. What that tells you, who knows? But what they tell us is that we get into the detail, the nitty-gritty. We focus on supporting them all the way through, and we can answer their questions. You know, I've been in this industry over 40 years. There's not a lot that I can't answer, and particularly the fact that we've got a high-level professional coaching team. We can support students. Our passion to teach people because we're old, our passion to give back because we're old is there. We want to teach people. We want to do that. We want people to succeed. We really want you to do that. And our focus is just on education. We're never going to ask a student to invest with us. We're never going to ask to invest with a student. We are there to help train you, guide you, steer you to get you success. I think that's probably what makes us different. Why do you think small-scale property development is the best property strategy? Well, there's lots of reasons. In a nutshell, I could argue it's the only one that the government, any government, perhaps previous government, current government support. It really is. Because do they support buy-to-let properties? No, they don't. Not at all. What do? They tax you. They put legislation in place. What about HMOs, houses of multiple occupation? Not really. Same sort of basis. And what about service departments? No, the government don't really support that. And I think there's going to be more legislation in that. There's going to be, isn't there? Hotels are going to put pressure on Airbnb to put more legislation in place. There's so much effort to put in, and perhaps saturation as well in the property market. You know, there's no real barriers to entry, and there's going to be a limit of how many HMOs you need in any particular town and city. But what about housing? What about development? There isn't. We fall way short, whatever the government's targets are, whether it's 300 or 385 or 400, and of course year on year when they don't meet those targets, it's going to go up. That means there's a demand. A business is about supply and demand. You've got a product, you need to make sure people buy it. You could open a coffee shop between two coffee shops and you wouldn't succeed. But you could build some new homes, and down the road, Persimmon or Barratt could also build some new homes, and you're both going to sell your homes because the demand is huge. So property development, of course, is the only one where the supply and demand is there. And of course, a ready stock of existing commercial buildings to develop it. And of course, it's supported by the government with permitted development rights. I think it's the best property strategy. A real sweet spot, first-time developers, around about 10 units. Because 10 units, let's say it's 10 flats worth 150,000 each, 1.5 million. That's about 300,000 profit. Maybe you take a little bit of a hit. Maybe that's 200,000 profit. That's a nice starting point. I mean, would that change your life? It probably would. And actually, that's a manageable project. You'd be in and out, off a site, with less than 12 months, in and out the whole deal, in probably less than 18 months. And it's important to get in and get out and get that education before you move on to your second. That's a real sweet spot. That definitely is. What skills do you need to be successful as a property developer? Simple. Organizational skills. Can you organize things? Management skills. Can you manage the processes? Decision-making skills, because you're going to have to make decisions when people ask you questions. But fundamentally, the fourth one is people skills. That's what you really need. It's a people business. Can you gel a team together? Because you're the glue that's got to stick that team together, and you've got to lead that team. Fundamentally, people skills is the most important set of skills that you need.
Why do you teach business and mindset skills as well as development? Well, now that's a good question. So that's actually one of the things about Property CEO that I think is, I don't know if it's unique, but it's certainly one of the things that makes a huge, huge difference. So if it was just a case of absorbing detail and information that was the difference between success and failure, then all you'd need is a big encyclopedia on any particular subject and you'd be successful at it. It would be the same. Of course, the reality is that doesn't happen. People have the information, but for some reason, things can get in the way of their success. So that might be that they lack business skills. They know what they need to do, but they don't have the business skills to be able to do it. So that's why we teach business skills as well. But perhaps one of the most important ones is a good old mindset. It's the personal kind of performance that can sometimes get in the way, whether that's a bit of imposter syndrome, feeling fearful, just generally getting in your own way, and stuff that kind of prevents you moving forward. So initially, of course, everybody wants to know how to develop property and all of the detail around that. But the reality is that when they come to put it into practice, they also need some other skills and some other help as well, which is why we offer that kind of holistic range of services within our mentorship program to make sure that people don't get kind of stuck on those blockers and can move forward. Why should people choose to be trained by a property CEO? Probably the first thing to say is definitely go and get trained. I would say that irrespective of whether it's property CEO that trains you, I would say please do not think that property development is something that you should just kind of let's give it a go, or let's save a bit of money by not getting trained. I think that's not the way to go about it. I think there are too many pitfalls and too many things that can go wrong. And if I'm honest, there's also people out there that will take advantage of new developers if you don't know what you're doing. So it's something you just need to get trained. You need to know what you're doing.
I think you should only choose property CEO when you've compared and contrasted everyone else out there. There are others out there, of course there are. And you've got to know whether we're the right people for you. We train in a certain way. I like to train with a bit of humour, and so if you don't like being trained with humour, well then don't come here. But actually compare what others offer. You should go out there. You should see. We have a prospectus. We make it simple. There's a full detailed prospectus. Have a look at it. See what we do compared to other people.
And we do try and make it as easy as possible to find out about us without spending a fortune before they commit to doing a mentorship program with us, because for us that's so important that we actually have people on our main program who understand us, they know how they're going to be taught, they understand what they're getting into.
But actually come and join us on some event before you make that big decision, and come and see whether we're a good fit. See if you like us. Talk to some of our students. If all of those boxes get ticked, that's why you should choose us. But don't do that before you've compared and contrasted. Do your students invest in your own deals, or do you partner with students on their deals? Categorically, no. There's a conflict of interest. We want to be in that position to support our students. We don't want to be in a position where they're investing our deals. Because what if a deal goes wrong? And sometimes they could. Sometimes they could. Now we've got this horrible situation where we're trying to undo this and deal with this. It doesn't work. We want to be there. We teach a model with people building their own team, particularly with something called a non-exec advisor, which is a bit of secret sauce, and a seriously well organised, managed project manager to control the project for them. But we're there as an extra layer. So if we don't invest either in their projects or they don't get involved with us, we are purely there as a training organisation to support and guide them. An extra layer always, because we have a community which people can come back to. So we're always there. And we have no ulterior motive. We have no other invested interest. Our only interest is to help them and for them to be successful. There is no conflicts of interest. So we never invest and we never ask people to invest with us. Well, hopefully you found that of interest. You now know a lot more about Property CEO. See you soon.
Is that me done? I'm done? Fantastic. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you again soon.